You guys said that Baltimore would absolutely wallop
Yeah, we did.
the Browns. But you know what I said? I said I just want Deshaun Watson on my fantasy team. He will get it done. I've also said that it's halfway through the year, and Lamar Jackson halfway through the year just flips a switch and doesn't play
Horrendous
anymore.
pick six. Lost in the game, that pick six.
Look, I believe that halfway through the season, something in Lamar Jackson flips, and they just crumble.
Are we a Steelers pod?
At times.
I think it might
At times
be.
we are. At the start of that game, when Hamilton, I think it was the second play of the game, Kyle Hamilton had the batted pass, interception, touchdown, which, good friend of the pod, Kyle. When Kyle did that, I thought, okay, here we go. The route is on. 17-3 at the end of the first quarter, and Lamar Jackson's looking great. The defense looks ferocious. I was genuinely stunned when Cleveland came back and won this game. Every single thing that happened blew my mind except for the missed extra point, because that was such a Browns thing to do. Other than that, I could not believe, look at the end of this game. The Ravens touchdown, Cleveland answers with a touchdown, then the interception to cut it to 1, and ultimately Deshaun Watson leads a game-winning drive, 12 plays, 58 yards, a little under 5 minutes, and this time they hit the field goal. Cleveland's another one of these teams. They're really weird. Kind of like, a little bit like Tampa Bay earlier in the year, but Cleveland right now can show up and beat anybody. But it also feels like they can lose to anyone. You never know what Browns team you're going to get. But here they are at 6-3, a half game back of Baltimore in the AFC North. Where do you stand on Cleveland? Do you actually, compared to the Ravens and Bengals, how threatened are you by the Browns?
Well, I'll get to that in a sec, but it's just funny how we're talking about these two teams' defenses on the whole preview show last time. And it's 33-31. But ultimately, it is that Cleveland defense who makes a massive play late, the pick six. Then they stop Baltimore yet again, get the ball back, and win the game. Yeah. So that Cleveland defense in the end, those last couple drives, stepped up big time, really pressured Lamar, made him uncomfortable, and pulled it out. But this, I really don't know. I'd probably be the most threatened by Cincinnati out of those three teams, because we have unreal numbers for whatever reason against Lamar Jackson. Like, we show up and we give him a hard time. History will back that up. Cleveland, we own them. We're their father. We always find a way against them. But what Cincinnati has just done in recent years, what they're capable of doing, I think their ceiling is the highest out of the three. They came into Pittsburgh last year and beat us. They've gone far in the playoffs the last few years. They're still the king of the AFC North because of that. So all three teams, solid. I wouldn't want to play them.
Ziggy,
but I'd say Cincinnati's the biggest threat.
You have to be feeling pretty good right now, because you are high on the Browns. You had them winning the division this offseason back in August on the prediction show. And they've won 4 of their last 5. It was starting to get a little murky for the Browns early this year. But 4 of their last 5 wins, including a win over San Francisco, now a win over Baltimore on the road comeback. Like, you have to be feeling pretty good about that pick, right?
Yeah, so what? They enter the bye, and they played 5 games since then. 3 of those, they started a backup quarterback. None of them have they had their Hall of Fame running back. They haven't even been able to figure out whether their quarterback is willing to play football or not. And there's been reports coming out of the locker room that, there's friction, people aren't happy. And they've won 4 of them, like you said. I don't know what to make of this team, right? I would have thought losing Nick Chubb. I would have thought Deshaun Watson playing something awful. I would have thought Browns moments, like missing the game-tying extra point, would hold this team
Such a
back.
Browns thing to do.
Yeah, it's just, once you see that, right? Once I saw that, I was ready to mortgage my house on the Ravens money line. Because, surely if the Browns are this cursed, they've got 3 backup offensive linemen this game against the most ferocious defense in the NFL.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something weird about this team where they keep finding ways to win against the best teams they play, right? Like, if you're against the Seahawks, you better watch out. But if it's the 49ers or the Ravens, this Browns team has you covered. So I don't know what to make of them. I don't know how to make sense of things. Here's what I know. In an NFL where scoring is down across the board, now's the best time in the past 5 years to have an elite defense with a mediocre offense. It's where the Browns find themselves now. I don't know. This team's starting to look dangerous. Even if they don't actually look dangerous, any play they are on the field, when you zoom out and look at what they've done across the whole season, Yeah, it's a dangerous team.
This is the kind of win that can propel a big push here towards the playoff for Cleveland, because think about the first time they played Baltimore in Cleveland, and I know PJ Walker played that game. They got housed, and they got embarrassed in their building.
That was surprising.
And that's what it looked like was about to happen again in Baltimore. To be able to gut this one out and overcome everything that happened, different, like, the early interception, the missed extra point, all of this crazy stuff happens, and yet they find a way to win against who everyone was calling probably the best team in football midway through the third quarter in this game. And now when you look at what they have coming up, it's Denver, LA, Jacksonville at home, Chicago, the Texans, the Jets before a game with the Bengals. Like, it's all there again for the Browns too to go on a run here. I think a win like this is exactly what they needed. And Deshaun Watson was kind of up and down on the day, but in big moments made big plays. It's in this AFC, in this league, like you said right now, Ziggy, the Browns have as much a chance as anyone.
It's funny when Baltimore just starts to have they're pulling in everybody. This could be the best team in the league. This could be the team who wins the Super Bowl.
This is what
they tend to lose at home. They do this, yeah. I remember when Nick Chubb went down week 2. I'm like, this team, they look dysfunctional. Like, Watson looked bad. I'm like, this team revolves around Nick Chubb. They're going to be nothing without Nick Chubb. This is a 5-12 team without Nick Chubb. And it's just crazy how nobody comes back from down 14 points in Baltimore and finds a way to win the game.
No, it doesn't.
It's like Jekyll and Hyde, these guys.
And Baltimore, too, only 100 rushing yards in this game after, they 300 a week ago.
And that's how they tend to kill you, is on the ground, and Cleveland monitored that.
Keaton Mitchell, by the way, he's going to be a weapon for them down the stretch for the Ravens.
He stinks for me being the Gus Edwards owner in fantasy.
Yeah. Sorry, Ziggy.
I was just going to say, with respect to the Browns, like, credit to their coaching staff. I get that things haven't always been good, but it says something about a team when they can be this resilient. Right? Again, like, being in Baltimore, the crowd's into it. You're down a bunch. Like, things just haven't been good for this team all year, and they keep sticking it out. Even though Deshaun Watson's in a walking boot now, right? He's probably not going to play next week. If it weren't for the fact that it was the Steelers going to Cleveland, I think they win.
Yeah, it's going to be and they could still win that game. They beat the 49ers in Cleveland.
You're taking the Steelers in that game.
You got his attention on that one.
Oh, I mean, the Steelers own the Browns. You said it over and over again.
Yeah, that answered the question before. We're their father.
How about one more game here before we wrap it up?
Can we share one neat fact?
Please.
Roquan Smith has written himself into the Baltimore Ravens linebacker record book. He had 21 combined tackles today. That's the most by any Ravens player ever. He had 14 solo tackles, which tied Ray Lewis for the most tackles in solo tackles in a franchise game. So Roquan Smith has been great for them, but Ray Lewis, I guess, had better watch out because Roquan's coming for his record.
Well, so and Ravens
is absurd.
Yeah, the Ravens fans also shouldn't worry or anything like that. No. Again, their team is awesome. Yeah. They're probably the best team in football right now. It's just the concern we have with them is when they start to lay an egg, it can fall off the tracks. Like they really can quickly. And this was weird interception return touchdown stuff like that. That doesn't normally happen, but they're not like they are prone over these past few years to have that bad game, and it happens in Baltimore too. So that's still the concern for the playoffs. But this team, I still think they're the best team in the league.
Yeah, when this game ended, all I was thinking about was how good it was for the Browns. I don't think twice about the Ravens.
Yeah, and the Browns' defense is fantastic. Yeah, Baltimore's just fine. But this was a chance to really grab a nice firm hold on.
Because it would have been 8-2
on the North,
and so now they're only.
To a degree, but like with Cincinnati losing, beating Cleveland, it would have been a great opportunity here. It's a bad one to let slip away.